Good afternoon on this fantastic Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. In this video, we are going to dive really deep into the threat of severe weather for tomorrow for the Deep South, as the Storm Prediction Center has already issued a level 4 out of 5 on the Severity Weather Index scale for strong tornadoes, damaging winds, and very large hail that are all expected in the Deep South region. Then, of course, this storm system will bring some pretty intense heavy snowfall for northern Illinois, for southeastern Wisconsin, and northern Michigan. So as always, this will be a pretty long, detailed video discussing about the severe weather threat for today and also for tomorrow. And then, of course, we got to look at the snowfall for the Great Lakes. So please bear with me here, as this is going to be a fairly long video. The timestamps are in the description below this video if you want to skip ahead to a certain part of the video. So first of all, we're looking at the day one severe weather outlook made by the Storm Prediction Center, and there is a slight risk for severe weather across San Angelo, Texas, over Rock Springs, Texas, if you're headed northeast, over Denton, Texas, Plano, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, Wichita Falls, Texas, Abilene, Texas, if you're in, say, Norman, Oklahoma, if you're in Chickasha, Oklahoma, if you're in Lawton, Oklahoma, McAllister, Oklahoma, if you're in Muskogee, Oklahoma, if you are in Fort Smith, Arkansas, if you're in Bella Vista, there's a slight risk for severe weather in this area, and this is driven by a 2 to 5% chance of tornadoes. So if we go again across San Angelo, you have a risk for tornadoes today. Abilene, Texas, you have a 2% risk for tornadoes. Wichita Falls, a 5% risk for tornadoes. If you're in Frederick, about a 2% chance. Fort Smith, Arkansas, if you are in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Springdale, Arkansas, Harrison, Arkansas, Branson, Missouri, you are under a 5% chance for tornadoes. All right, please understand that. And then there's a 2% chance of tornadoes all the way into southern Illinois and southeastern Missouri, including for a few areas here in, say, the Kentucky area, like Paducah, Kentucky, Marion, Kentucky, Morganfield, Kentucky, under that 2% risk for tornadoes. But what about wind? Wind is going to be not such a big problem today. It's going to be the hail threat that drives this slight risk. So San Angelo, Big Lake, 5% chance of strong winds that are anticipated today. Abilene, about a 5% risk for strong winds. Again, that is 65 plus miles an hour. Wichita Falls, if you're in Plano, Denton, Texas, Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas, Mansfield, Sulphur Springs, Texas. If you're in Waco, Texas, Killeen, Texas, 5% risk. Fort Smith, under about a 5 to 15% risk for some strong winds. Muskogee, Oklahoma, Fayetteville, Arkansas, also a 15%. Bella Vista, Branson, there under a 15. Now, what about hail today? Hail is a SIG. We have a significant severe for 2+ inch hailstones across San Angelo, Big Lake, Sonora, Bellinger. If you're in Winters, if you're in Abilene, Texas, Sweetwater, you're under a 15 SIG for large hailstones. Again, 2+ inches in diameter. Wichita Falls, Ardmore, Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, Frederick, Vernon, Texas, and Frederick, Oklahoma, Chickasha, Oklahoma, under a 15 SIG for large hail. This goes all the way up into Arkansas, like Fayetteville, Springdale, Bella Vista, Marionville, under that risk for some large hail. But today's risk is not going to be anything like what we're about to see tomorrow. Again, Mount Vernon under a 5% risk there for southern Illinois, much of southeastern Missouri into southern Indiana under a 5% risk for some large hailstones. So there will be some tornadoes, some large hail, and damaging wind gusts today with today's severe weather day. But tomorrow is going to be a bigger concern. Let's actually take a look at the Deep South, because there is a day 2 moderate risk. This is a level 4 out of 5 on the severe weather index scale. So we can see the areas that I'm really going to mention will really be in the enhanced risk. This is the ground zero area for the worst of the severe weather. Shreveport, Louisiana, Winfield, Louisiana. If you're in Alexandria, the enhanced risk. If you're in Monroe, Louisiana, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Ridgeland, Mississippi. If you're in Greenville, Mississippi, if you're in Monticello, there, under a moderate risk for severe weather. Pine Bluff, moderate risk. Clarksdale, moderate risk for severe weather. This goes all the way up into western Tennessee. Like, if we go and take a look at Memphis, Tennessee, if you're in Barlett, Tennessee, Covington, Tennessee, Ripley, Tennessee, this goes all the way into even perhaps close to Nashville, Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee, Mayfield. Oh my gosh, don't get me started with Mayfield. With that very strong tornado last year, it was a disaster. December 10th, cannot forget about that. Very powerful EF4 tornado tore through Mayfield. So under a elevated risk, therefore, some strong tornado potential in that area. If you are in the Campbell, if you're in Charleston, Missouri, down here, you're under an enhanced risk for severe weather. But that's not it. What is this driven by, you might ask? Well, let's take a look. Let's kind of look at our tornado risk. This is a 15 sig for strong tornadoes. The significant hatched area delineates the chances for strong tornadoes. Okay, that's significant. So when you think about this, there is a 15 sig for strong tornadoes over Bastrop, Monroe, Winnsboro, if you're in Winfield, if you're in Vicksburg, Ridgeland, say portions there of Mississippi. This is a pretty big deal, all right? A 15 might not sound like a big deal, but it actually is when you think about it. That includes more coverage, so new scattered tornado potential, lots of supercells that could produce strong long-track tornadoes in this area. Little Rock, Hot Springs under a 10 sig for tornadoes tomorrow. Again, this is for Friday. Memphis, Tennessee, Blytheville, Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas, 10 sig for strong tornadoes tomorrow. So this is a big deal. Tomorrow is ground zero. Tomorrow is the day to really watch for numerous supercells capable of long-tracked, intense tornadoes tomorrow, along to go with large hail. Actually, hail won't be a big deal tomorrow. The wind will, though, if you are in the Pine Bluff area. You're going to have SIG tornadoes, SIG wind. It's going to be a big deal. Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, Union City, Tennessee, please be careful. This is a 30 SIG for damaging winds. And then, of course, when we look at hail, it's non-SIG, which is good, but there will be some 1 to 2 inch hailstones out of some of the supercells tomorrow over Hot Springs, Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Greenville, Monroe, Shreveport, Jackson, Memphis, Tennessee, especially where we have enough instability, enough buoyant air mass recovery, especially moving north with enough saturated moist layer parcels. That's going to contribute to some HP supercellular type structures, and with quickly maturing storms. We'll look at the HRRR here in just a second. So when we take a look at our latest HRRR model, which stands for High Resolution Rapid Refresh, and this is the 18Z run. So this run is currently in the rendering process. So I am providing you as accurate, latest information that I can possible in these videos. So first of all, these storms do look to pop up over central and southeastern Oklahoma, right along that warm frontal stationary boundary that is going to trigger some bigger storms tonight, all the way through tomorrow and even into Saturday. So some from Wichita Falls, Texas, all the way to Duncan, Oklahoma. If you're in Seminole, Oklahoma, Shawnee, Norman, Oklahoma, if you are in Muskogee, if you're in the Wagner area, Solium Springs, Arkansas, you're going to have a lot of these pop-up storms that are going to be surface-based, so we will see a threat for tornadoes, large hailstones, again, significant hail with some of these that do fire up along that boundary today, because we're going to have strong instability advecting northward along that boundary, and we're going to start seeing these storms really bubble up this afternoon. By the time this video gets released, we're probably going to have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings and even a tornado warning perhaps. Today, I'm not going to live stream. I'm going to save a lot of my energy for tomorrow's event, because that one looks to be far bigger than today's outbreak. Okay, not really an outbreak today. So by the time we go into about, say, 8 o'clock tonight, by the way, this is local time. This is Pacific Daylight Time, so you would want to go forward 2 hours with this. So you can see here by 8 p.m. Central Time, more storms look to fire up along that boundary all the way from Sweetwater, Vernon into Lawton, Oklahoma. And this continues to be a really big problem. Look at this. Adam, McAllister, showers and thunderstorms. Some of these, again, large hail, damaging wind gusts of at least 65 miles an hour, and some tornado genesis possible. We got more storms that look to fire up all the way from northernmost portion of Mexico country. That includes for Rock Springs, Texas. You can see some of these storms really fire up, and you can see where the boundary is based on our isobars, lines of equal pressure. That's kind of our stationary front that is draped all the way across into West Virginia, into Ohio, into Indiana, where you're going to get some serious rainfall for tonight, and that's why there's going to be flooding. We'll get into more of that in just a little bit, but this continues all the way through about 5 in the morning with the slight risk. Severe thunderstorms really look to be very strong once again into southeastern Oklahoma, and that will continue throughout the day into early tomorrow morning. And then, of course, this model is currently rendering, so hopefully we will look at this in just a little bit. But in the meantime, let's take a look at our flood risk. As you all can see from the Weather Prediction Center standpoint, they have issued a moderate risk for heavy rainfall and flooding over portions of southeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, and southern and southwestern Missouri. Again, this is a pretty serious situation. All the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, into Fayetteville, Arkansas, Bella Vista, Arkansas, Joplin, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, under a moderate risk for heavy rainfall and flooding. That means there could be 4+ inches of rainfall in this area, with some areas that might even get 6 inches of rainfall. So that just adds more seriousness to river rises, small creeks, streams flooding, urban flooding, street flooding, that sort of thing. I mean, this is really concerning, all right? So this is the day one outlook, and you can see a pretty big area under some kind of flood threat here and heavy rainfall. From Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, all the way to Springfield, Urbana, Illinois, Indianapolis, even Kokomo, where one of my friends live. A great friend that I known forever. He is under the flood threat. Fort Wayne, Indiana, Columbus, Ohio, just really concerning here. Charleston in West Virginia, Lexington, Kentucky, Bowling Green, Elizabethtown, Madisonville, Paducah, under a marginal to slight risk for heavy rainfall. But guess what? It doesn't end there. The day 2 outlook is even more significant. Look at the big area of moderate risk. This is fairly widespread, okay? This goes all the way from Jonesboro, Harbor Springs, if you're in Newport, Arkansas, Poplar Bluff, if you are in Frederickstown, Missouri, Mayfield, Kentucky, if you are in Mount Vernon, Illinois, Ohlone, Illinois, Robinson, Illinois, Evansville in Kentucky, Indiana border, Salem, Indiana, Bloomington, Indiana, Indianapolis. I mean, this is a really big area. Dayton, Ohio, Springfield, Hamilton, Cincinnati, Georgetown, moderate risk for heavy rainfall and flooding. This means there is a 40 to 60% chance that you're going to see river rises that could lead to some major flooding. There could be small stream urban flooding. There could be street flooding. All right, so when you encounter any flooded roadway, please turn around, do not drown. Flooding is very dangerous and leads to a lot of deaths because you cannot estimate how deep the water is. Even so, you're an experienced driver, you know the road very well. Do not try to cross flooded roadways. Turn around, do not drown. Please, my job here is to save your guys' lives, not to make you guys go through that stuff, okay? So please heed my warning and in my advice, please. Hot Springs, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Tupelo in Mississippi, much of Tennessee here, marginal and slight risk for heavy rainfall and flooding. You guys have just had too much rainfall and more is on the way, and that's why the Weather Prediction Center for day 1 and 2 has issued a moderate risk. And day 3, there's of course no risk out at this moment, which is good news, but boy, day 1 and day 2 really look concerning. So we're now looking at Friday's severe weather risk on the HRRR model, since this is one of the more high resolution models that I like to use, and it seems to indicate precipitation fairly well for tomorrow's event. So of course, there will be a nasty line of storms moving across, again, Russellsville in Arkansas. This is that cold front kind of stationary boundary that is going to be draped across the region. Newport, Jonesboro in Arkansas, moderate to heavy rainfall. And yes, thunderstorms will be a likelihood scenario. And then we got showers and thunderstorms leaping across the Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, Elizabethtown, Kentucky, all the way. This very wide swath of moderate to heavy rainfall along the stalled out boundary that is going to be draped across much of the Ozarks and the upper Midwest. But guess what? This is going to revigorate because we have a surface low down here that is going to rapidly deepen. We can see this over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 1,006 millibars, and this is going to be ejecting all the way out into the Arkansas region. And as it does so, it will deepen. And when it deepens, it pulls in more moisture. We get a more air mass response due to that, and we are going to see nasty thunderstorms really build up in the afternoon, especially after about 12 o'clock my time. This is 2 o'clock Central Time. You can see over Minna, over DeQueen, over Boonsville, Russellsville, nice looking storm here draped over the region, 1,002 millibars. Hot Springs Village, going to get some moderate to heavy rainfall. Now, don't let this fool you. Now, this boundary is going to stall over Little Rock. So this is going to try to lift northward because we have a lot of warm, moist air advection that is being pulled in out of the southerly direction. So it's going to be influencing this boundary here over Little Rock, and that's going to cause more air mass recovery. The instability is going to rebuild by the afternoon, and we're going to get some nasty, nasty storms that are going to fire up. Now, unfortunately, this is taking too long to render, so we're going to rely off the 12Z model, which is a little not so as accurate, right? Because we want to look at the latest model run, but it's taking way too long for this to render, so we're going to actually just rely off of the 12Z run of the HRRR from earlier this morning. So we can see showers and thunderstorms look to fire up over Little Rock, over Pine Bluff in the afternoon, Monroe, Louisiana, Winsboro there. We're going to see semi-discrete supercells. This is looking a lot more messier than more organized. The previous models were indicating that we're going to have a lot more organized, discrete supercells riding along the within the warm sector environment, okay? Well out ahead of the cold frontal boundary. Now, in recent model runs, we have seen more of a messier evolution to storms, especially over Arkansas and southward into northeastern Louisiana. We have more semi-discrete supercells capable still of embedded tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds that are anticipated, all right? And yes, some of these storms are capable of producing strong, long-track tornadoes. So I'm still not letting my guard down on that. We're still going to have a tornado threat that is going to be pretty significant all the way across central Arkansas, southward into Louisiana, and even into Mississippi. And going forward, this is going to kind of grow up into a QLCS with embedded supercells within this line and right out ahead of it. Since our air mass is going to be fairly unstable, we're not talking about convective inhibition out ahead of this, which would likely preclude any supercells. So something to really monitor here all the way through tomorrow night into early Saturday morning with that intense line of storms. Man, that looks very strong. Heavy rainfall is a sure bet with this one, along with significant severe weather, possibly a severe weather outbreak. So now when we take a look at the overall atmosphere that is going to be put together for this severe weather outbreak potential to come for tomorrow, you have elevated dew points. So we have mid 60s and low 60 dew points advecting all the way into Arkansas, with low 70 dew points down here across Louisiana, across southeastern Texas. So there's going to be a lot of rich moisture advection out ahead of the surface low that is going to be up here, pulling in moisture from the deep south. This topped with mid-level lap strikes that are likely to be steepening throughout the day tomorrow amidst over a warm air mass that is unstable, will lead to moderate to strong instability over this region. So we have CAPE anywhere between about 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram throughout the deep layer. And this is going to lead again to a lot of thunderstorm development as this warm, unstable air advects northward ahead of this stationary boundary and out ahead of the dry line and triple point that is going to be in position over the Arkansas Valley. This, along with a pretty strong mid-level flow regime that is going to overspread the warm sector, will lead to substantial curved hodographs and deep layer shear for organized supercellular structures to mature pretty quickly over the Arkansas, over the Mississippi, and Louisiana area, leading to, again, the threat for strong tornado genesis that is going to develop within these storms. So all in all, tomorrow is looking to be a pretty substantial outbreak of severe thunderstorms across the Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, including for Tennessee and portions of Alabama, and even for easternmost Texas. So you may be wondering, how much rainfall could you actually see out of this storm system? You do not want to know. It's looking pretty scary for some locations, especially for southeastern Missouri into southern Illinois and southern Indiana. You could be looking at 8+ inches of rainfall. So we're going to kind of go through this rather quickly, so I'm not boring the heck out of you all. But look at this. Some areas in, say, Oklahoma could get 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. Look at this over Grove, Oklahoma, maybe 8 inches of rainfall. Look at this, Springfield, Missouri, 10 inches of rainfall. Now, of course, this is a meso model, so it is going to change substantially. You're not going to see probably 10 inches of rainfall, but this illustrates of how much rainfall you might just be seeing, and that's why there's a moderate risk for flooding in this portion of Missouri. Frederickstown between 7 to 10 inches of rainfall. Look at this, Mount Vernon in Illinois. I mean, if this comes to pass here, if the model actually isn't playing around here, 13 inches of QPF amounts. That's rainfall. That's a lot of water. So that's going to be a big problem right along this boundary. Bloomington, 13 to 14 inches of rainfall. And I bet you Ethan that's watching this video is saying, oh my gosh, holy cow. Wow, that is a lot of rain. I just love Ethan's reaction. Ethan B, you're awesome, brother. You're really awesome. You make me laugh all the time when we live stream, which is why my audience loves you a lot when you come to live stream, which I hope you can help me tomorrow, because tomorrow is looking to be a dangerous day. Franklin, Indiana, 11 inches. Columbus, Indiana, 8 to 10 inches of rainfall. Man, I've never seen this amount of rainfall within 60 hours. 60 hours. Okay, on the NAM 3-kilometer model. Columbus, maybe 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. Mansfield, Ohio, 5 inches. My goodness, lots of water falling from the sky here, with maybe an inch or so north of Dallas in Texas. You all need the rain, though. I'm telling you, down here in Texas, Oklahoma, but you all in Indiana don't need any more rain, and you're going to get a lot of it in the next 60 hours. So now with that, we talked about the severe weather, flood risk, and heavy rainfall for the Midwest and the Deep South. Why don't we take a look now at the Great Lakes, because there is going to be snow and it could be heavy at times, and you definitely need to be aware of this, because this could impact your Friday night into, actually no wait, yeah, this could impact your Thursday, oh wait, no, Friday night all the way into Saturday and even perhaps into Sunday. Sorry, got my days mixed up there. So when we go forward here in the next couple of days, the snow is going to be increasing over Rockford, Illinois. This is on the 24th of March. So this is, again, Friday night. You're going to start seeing snow. So I know a lot of you like to go out and go to restaurants. You guys like to party Friday night. I know how that is. I party myself all the time. but you may not be able to do that because the rain is going to turn into snow and it's going to get heavy at times. Look at this. By the time we go into about 4 in the morning for Central Time, Rockford, Milwaukee, if you're in Madison, Wisconsin, and southward, moderate to heavy snowfall is anticipated. Grand Rapids, you might see a mix of rain and snow as this system progresses. You might even see some freezing rain out of this. And look at that. All the blue on your screen indicates moderate to heavy snowfall all the way through about 7 in the morning on your Saturday. But again, this is the 12Z run. The HRRR, for some reason, is taking days and days to load. It is running very slow, and I don't know why. So unfortunately, we are using and relying off the 12Z HRRR model guidance on Radar Omega. But look at that. That is a strong system. Heavy snowfall, and you bet, strong winds anticipated with it too. So, how much snowfall could you expect out of this winter storm for the Great Lakes? Well, here is your answer. If you're in Davenport, you might see as much as 8 inches of snowfall. Clinton, there on the border of Illinois and Iowa, maybe as much as 10 inches. Freeport, maybe 13 inches. This is the 10-in-1 ratio of snowfall accumulation. If you're in Kenosha, I can't even read that. Milwaukee, you get the idea. If you're in Waukesha, Brookfield, Wisconsin, maybe almost 2 feet of snowfall that could fall with this winter storm. That is going to lead to a lot of problems. If you are in northern Michigan, you might see 2 feet of snowfall. This again is the 10-in-1 ratio, I believe. I want to make sure I'm correct on that. Yeah, it's a 10-in-1 ratio snowfall total here. If you're in Pleasanton, Michigan, maybe 21 inches. If you're in Norwood, East Jordan, maybe 20 to 26 inches of snowfall that could be possible. So yeah, 2 feet of snowfall this time of the year is quite rare for these areas to see it, but it does happen on an occasion. But further south here near Pontiac, maybe 2 inches, Juliet 4 inches, and Chicago 8 inches of snowfall is all anticipated. So quite a bit of wintry weather with this one. Ice accumulation could also be a big deal, especially over central Michigan, where you might see between 1/10 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch of ice. That's enough to bring down trees, power lines, and lead to more power outages. And you've already dealt with enough this year with freezing rain problems and power outages. Another round of ice is on the way, potentially by the time we go into Friday night into Saturday. Now, before I do end the video, I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please consider doing so. It really means a lot to me. We are going live on tomorrow's severe weather outbreak for the Deep South because there's a moderate risk. That means strong tornadoes are pretty likely at this point. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so right now to get latest updates on the severe weather, winter storms, hurricanes, much more on the channel with video updates and more. Not only that, Evan James has put together a very awesome Mesovort WX weather website. So if you want to participate in that, it is completely free. There's a link in the description below this video leading to the website. There is no cost to join at all. And then lastly, if you want to participate in the Weather Force Discord server, there's a link in the description below the video as well. Please consider joining. It is a lot of fun. There's a lot of awesome members in there that are willing to talk to you, getting to know you, and just having a really awesome, great, fun time, including Multi-Relic. Chirp, 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 chirp. Really awesome guy too to meet and everything like that. All right, but anyways, you all, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll be back with you tomorrow with a live stream coverage on the severe weather outbreak for the Deep South. That should begin right around 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Hope to see you all there.